so today I'm with the lovely Sarah from the Hemmingbird. Hi there, Sarah.
Hi there, Sarah.
I know it's going to be funny today, isn't it, with two Sarahs? Tell us about the Hemmingbird. I love the name. You have to tell us where that comes from as well.
Well, it was my husband and I. We were sort of texting each other. Well, he was at work, and in the gaps, I would text him a few words, sort of buzzwords about sewing, and then he'd text me an idea, and so we went backwards and forwards for the afternoon, and then eventually it came up with the Hemmingbird. So it was actually his idea, and I just thought, yeah, let's go with that, because I'm a bird and I do hemming. So that's how it came about. And actually, a very good response from people about the name. It's quite memorable, which is so that's where that came from.
Fab. So tell us about what sort of hemming you do then.
Well, I run workshops to do with soft furnishings. So I teach people to make anything for their home. So that could be cushions, curtains, Roman blinds, aprons, peg bags, covers for the sofa to stop the dog from ruining your sofa, something that matches in your sitting room, that sort of thing. So anything that people want to put in their home, basically.
Oh, wonderful.
Well, on and off, yes. I mean, when I was little, my mum had a very temperamental machine, and I just started having a go with that, and then I just got hooked. And going back to that time, you could actually go to a fabric shop and buy really nice fabric, not very expensive, and make something for the fraction of the cost. And I like that side of things as well. Yeah. So then when I was about 18, when there was sort of the odd black tie ball or something like that, I sort of cobbled together ball dresses and that sort of thing, nothing particularly fancy, but again, you could save a lot of money doing that. So I've always made things, and then family sort of gets in the way, and then I've now refurnished our home. It's a hobby that I've always had, and it sort of stays with you, I think. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think, the thing is that I've done various courses, and one of the things that I realised, well, there are a couple of things I realised. One is when you go on a course, it might be not that expensive to go on that course, but then you arrive and you find there's about 15 people there, and you don't get much individual help. That was one of the things and the other thing is that you can come away really enthusiastic and think, right, I'm going to make loads of cushions, I'm going to do all sorts of, I'm going to give I make presents and give them to people, and then actually you never set aside the time to do that. So one of the things that I set up alongside the workshops was a thing called the Sewing Cafe, and that's you can book into that for 2 hours at any time when I'm going to be there, maybe working on a project of my own. So I'll be working in the background, but you can start on your own project once you've done the workshop with me, and you know pretty much what you've got to do. But you just need a helping hand. So for people like yourself who just want someone in the background to sort of, oh, Sarah, how did you say you did these corners or whatever? And I had one lady who did come back. She learnt to do cushions, box cushions, but they'd bought a boat, a second-hand yacht, and they needed to redo all the cushions, and there wasn't a 90-degree angle in any of them. So quite a lot of time, and she's now completely recovered all those cushions.
Wonderful.
Which, she said, I don't think I'd have done it without coming to the sewing cafe.
And it also. So you've said, the workshops and the cafe give us access to you, but also, like you said, we don't set aside the time, do we? So it also gives us the commitment to then achieve something, because so often we think, yes, I'm going to do, but then, as you say, it goes, everyone else takes over.
That's one thing I've got to learn to do, is not to say the garden shed. It's a garden room, garden studio. We quite a few years ago, we were wondering what we would do in the garden, because I've struggled with a bit of a bad back at times, and so gardening is sort of out of the question. There's space under a tree at the end of the garden to put, this garden room, and so we thought, well, we'll put that in, and we'll put a table tennis table in it, which is what we did. We've had a great time doing that, and our son has done lots of table tennis. But I then realised I could raise the table tennis table up onto stands, and then work off that, so I'm not bending over. So no gardening involved. It's just so my commute is literally about 30 steps down to the end of the garden.
Wonderful.
The sun pours in and the birds are tweeting, and it's all really rather lovely. So
that's such a lovely experience to come to, so you can totally switch off from the world. You've obviously been sewing for a long time, but in terms of business, how long have you been operating?
I did the course to learn how to make the soft furnishings probably about 6 or 7 years ago. And I then realised, when I was trying to run some workshops with some friends, that actually I needed to have a lot more experience than just doing the course. And so I spent the last 5 or 6 years making curtains and blinds for, first of all, friends and family, and then outside clients. And then I just suddenly decided, right, I think I've got enough experience, so I'll get back into a teaching role, because I've been teaching English as a foreign language, and that's the whole teaching side of things is what I really like doing. So making stuff for 5 or 6 years, and then I launched the website and all the workshops in September last year. It's quite a big step, but it's very exciting, and constantly learning something. So it's all going well. And I think I sort of started out thinking very much along sort of money lines, and I'm very lucky we're not on the bread line, but it made me really think, what do I want to do with the business? And I want to be able to sort of give back a bit to community or society. So there's a couple of areas that I'm going to become a mentor, and also through one of the socially shared meetings, I met a lady who I think she does Reiki, but she also helps make sanitary products for people in Africa, for girls in Africa. It's called Days for Girls. And you can set up teams, and she's in Kenilworth, and you can help make all, little bag for them to carry everything around in. And you could even go over to Africa and teach them the sewing skills to make their own. So there are all sorts of things that it would be great to get involved in. Sewing is still, still very, very valid in
absolutely,
in other areas, rather than just making stuff for your own home. It's a very useful skill. So
absolutely.
So we'll see where all that takes.
That's really exciting, isn't it? To be able to have those opportunities open up and bring your skills to help others. I think that's
and I think the thing when you start out setting up a business, the internet's an amazing thing, isn't it? And the whole networking side of things, and it's not a sort of linear thing that your learning curve. It's just sort of, that's good. I think I'll go off and I'll look into this, and you look back after 6 months, you think, gosh, I could never have imagined that I'd be where I am now thinking of these things. And it's very exciting, very stimulating. It's all good. I haven't sort of written them down as such, but I'm running the workshops from the garden room, but I've also started running them at a couple of local venues. So one is called Bond's Lifestyle, which is just outside Stratford, and another is called Tolton Mill, which is an artisan cafe, again very close to Stratford. And so that's sort of expanding where I actually run the workshops, and it's nice to be able to offer them, and these different places will provide lunch as well. So again, it makes for some quality me time if you're going to do the course, get a nice day out in nice surroundings with lunch provided. So I think I'm just going to look at, there are one or two other places over towards Leamington that I'm going to look at, and just sort of quietly expand those, because it's nice to sort of go out and set up in different places. And so just more of the same, really. Get the classes filling up a bit more, and just and then just see how it goes.
If there's any piece of advice that you could give to somebody thinking of setting up, or who's currently preparing to set up, what would that be?
Oh gosh, all sorts of things sort of go through my mind, but I think you can prepare so much, but actually I ended up setting a date, which was the 1st of September, which happens to be my dad's birthday. And I thought, right, they're coming up to stay, we'll have a glass of champagne and I'll launch on that date.
Brilliant.
So that's, and I told various people, so I couldn't get out of it. And it's been one of the best things that I ever did, because you can't have everything absolutely perfect. And if you wait for that moment, you'll probably never start. So that would be my advice.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been fascinating talking to you and hearing about your journey. So your contact details are going to pop up on the screen now. So anybody wanting to book on a workshop or get in touch regarding your sewing cafes and what have you, then the contact details will be on screen in a mo. So thank you so much, Sarah. And I'll see you soon.
Well, thank you. It's been great.